Hi, it's Carrie from Macmillan Library. I've got another project for you to do while you're at home. And this one is fun and you can use it as a decoration in your room or in the house. I might put mine on our front door. So what we're going to make today are yarn wrapped letters. So what I have done is I've decided to use the letter P for mine, and I took an old cereal box and I cut out the shape of the P that I wanted. Um, I made it as basic as I could because I don't want it too fancy. Fancy might not work so well with this. So it's a pretty basic P shape. And what we've got is our shape. I've got glue dots to help stick the yarn to the shape. If you don't have glue dots, you can use regular tape. Because it's all going to be covered up, it doesn't matter if you can see it when you're first starting. So you can just use regular tape if you'd like. You can also use hot glue to glue it down. But if you do use hot glue, remember to make sure you have an adult help you because those hot glue guns are very hot. And then we're just going to use some yarn. So I have a little bit of a yarn problem, and I have a ton of yarn in my basement. I chose to use this variegated yarn, which just means that the yarn changes colors subtly throughout the entire skein. So I can just do this whole thing and it'll look like it has different colors attached to it, even though I didn't actually change my yarn. If you want to have different colors, you're perfectly okay to do that. You just want to make sure that when you cut your yarn, you attach it at the back, and then when you start again with your new color, you attach it at the back when you start, and then continue on. So we're going to get started with my glue dot, and I am going to put this as close to the bottom corner as I can get. So there's my glue dot, and we are just going to put my yarn right on top of that dot. Okay, and we're just going to wrap. We're going to wrap it around and around and around and around. And you may need to detach it, so you may need to cut it at some points depending on your letter shape, and then reattach it in a different spot to make sure that you get your letter all wrapped. So we're going to just keep wrapping until we are finished. So you see I have finished the lower part of my P. You want to get the yarn close enough together that there aren't big gaps. So I have got my glue dot, and this is going to be where I end this part of my letter. So we're just going to stick our yarn really good to that, and I'm going to cut it right there. Oops, get my hand out of the way there. There we go. Okay, so we've got some sticky glue dot there. I'm going to add the cut part of the yarn to the end, and then we're going to wrap around this part of the P, the loop part of the P. And since we have to go through the middle part of the P, I ended up cutting my yarn and bunching it up, balling it up, rolling it up actually, in a ball so that I can pass it through this part of the P and wrap it around that way. If you have the entire skein of yarn, it's going to make that a little bit more tricky. So we're just going to do it that way. I will finish this part of the P and we will be back. So we're back, and as you can see, I'm just about finished. I'm just going to finish up the last few wraps here. And while I do that, I'm just going to kind of go through what was going on here while I was doing the rest of my wrapping on my letter. I found that this part was pretty easy. I did put a little bit more tape on as I was going around just to keep it from slipping a little bit. And then I found that these corners, I had to really think about it, and I had to do a lot of wrapping over top of what I've already done, which is fine. It's just going to create a little bit different look, so I'm going to show you that in just one second here. Let me get the rest of this cardboard wrapped up here. I just have a few more passes. So hopefully, it honestly depends on what letter you have. If you have an O, O's are pretty easy. But I think most of the letters, there's going to be spots like this where you really need to think about how it needs to be wrapped and how it can be wrapped so that it doesn't come apart. So this one, like the corners here, there's a lot of yarn around those corners, but I think that's going to be okay. From a distance, you're not going to notice it that much anyway. And it kind of is neat because it gives it a little bit of depth, and it also, you know, changes up the color scheme a little bit too. So I think that's just fine. So we got one more time around here. We're going to take it to the back. I'm going to put another glue dot on. These glue dots have been sticking to my fingers. So let's see if I can get it to stick to my project instead. So go, stick it there. Get our yarn stuck to our glue dot. Cut off the excess. And I think we should be done. So as you can see on these areas, the yarn is a little thicker and it's going in a different direction, but that's okay. There really wasn't a good way of doing it other than to wrap in a different direction that we were going in. So, so my letter is now done. What I might want to do with this is I could hang it on my wall if I wanted to hang it on my bedroom wall or something. We could do that. You could do, and what I might do here is hang some ribbon from it and then put this on the front door of my house. Yeah, you could do all kinds of things. If you did a letter for a friend of yours, you could give that to them as a gift. You could actually even put it in the middle of a wreath and decorate the wreath in the colors that you used with your yarn. You could do all kinds of fun things with this. So hopefully you were able to figure out your corners and you got this to look somewhat similar. It was a fun project, a little bit more difficult than I anticipated, but that's okay. Sometimes you need to have those challenges in life. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we will be back again with another video soon. Thank you.